Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Guess what? We're not live. I'm just by myself in the studio right now. Doing these paint nights by myself are always like so awkward for me. You're probably not going to feel that way. Just know that the whole time I'm just like awkward. But I've got some spooky music on in the background. We're going to pretend it's not November 10th. And that we're just 2 weeks ago. It's Halloween. I didn't skip the paint night. We're about to paint this cutie little rainbow skeleton. Okay? Today we've got something a little bit different. I'm going to be using the dollar store paints. Just like most of you at home are usually using these dollar store paints, you're not using the higher quality paints. And sometimes that will make it easier so you can see how they're reacting on my canvas, how they should be reacting on yours. We're doing dollar store quality everything today. We've got the paints, and then there's this little pack of 3 brushes that's also Dollorama. I know there's lots of dollar stores. Oh my goodness. 1 second. These ones I get from Dollorama. It did fall apart, but I promise they're good quality. So we've got small, medium, large. You can get these at the dollar store as well. Oh, maybe we should do them over here. And we're just going to use these 3 brushes today. You guys at home, if you want, can start with a pencil. Some people like to do that. Totally okay. I'm going to start with paint here. Where should I put this guy? We're just going to get into it. It's, to be honest, 2 in the morning on a Thursday night. And if I didn't do it now, I'd never do it. So we're just getting into it, quick and dirty. I'm Tay for y'all if who are new here. And we're gonna paint a skeleton. Usually I'm doing this live and it takes about 2 hours because we're chatting, hanging out, talking, taking questions. But like I said, today's just me, myself, and I in here. So we're just going info all the way. I probably will go a little fast, but since this is a recording, you can slow down, not repeat, fast forward, pause, whatever you need. But I think it's nice sometimes when I can just shoot it out with no funny business or peanut gallery, as we like to call them in our lives. So we are going to start with, I'm just going to take out orange because it's going to be easier to see. But I would suggest, if you're not using pencil, to take out yellow. Like I said, the only reason I'm not using yellow is because you won't be able to see it on the camera, screen, whatever works. We're going to be taking out our smallest brush, or a pencil, right? If you're using a pencil, just don't push too hard on your canvas, just really lightly. And then us using paint, we're basically doing what the pencilers are doing. This is our rough draft, like our underpainting, our underdrawing, our sketch. So we're going to take our smallest brush, even if you're not using that pack of 3, smallest brush you got. We're going to go into our water dish, which is over here, if you can see, on the side. And I'm going to scoop some water onto my palette. You can't see. Oh, the spooky music is just, oh my goodness, giving spooky vibes in the studio. Even though my business partner has already set up like Christmas decorations, like it is full-time Christmas in here. Like I said, we're pretending it is Halloween. Okay, so I just scooped a bunch of water onto my palette. That's why I brought the camera down there so you can see. And I took like a tiny little piece of orange, shoop, into my little pile of water. So I'm making a really watered down consistency. Again, you're probably using yellow. If you're using pencil, ignore us for a minute. But now we're going to go to our palette, our canvas here, and we are going to map out where the skeleton's going to go. Not the smaller pieces. Just imagine that big black shape that we can see on the canvas there. So we're just going to make a big old head, which is just a big circle. So I'm going to go big circle. Oh, and now I cut off some of the canvas on the camera, of course. Let me just do that before I move it up here. And see how my circle's like not perfect at all? I've gone around a couple times. It's just a rough draft. We're just figuring out where we're going to be laying down all these colors, but this big circle is where that smaller shape is going to go. Are you with me on there, right? Inside is going to be that skull. Right now, we are just mapping out where the outline is going to be and where we're going to be rainbow coloring in, which is the best part. And from that belly, I'm getting ahead of myself. From that head, we're going to be going down to his belly. Again, which is going to be just a big circle. Remember, we have legs coming, so you don't want to make the big circle too small because we want to leave room for the legs. But let's make a big belly. See, like, I'm not being precious. It's a little messy. That's okay. And guess what? We're doing the same thing. Let's make some arms, which are just little beans. Little ovals. And this one's pointing up because he's waving. They're opposite directions, right? This one was actually, they're technically the same direction at this moment. We're doing it with the same angle. But one's a little bit higher because he's waving up, and one's a little bit lower, right? Beep. And again, this is just rough. We're going to be putting new colors in there. It's okay. We just want to see where we want these colors to go. And again, technically, we don't have to do these shapes if you don't want the white on the border, like in our reference photo down here. See how there's white on the edges? If you don't care about that being white, you don't need to do this part. You can do the rainbow part we're about to do first if you want. It'll make more sense in 1 second. But let's make some big legs. I'm still using that really watered down paint version here because I don't want the paint to go on thick by any means. It's just my rough sketch, remember? So I want it to go on very lightly. But again, just mapping out where our skeleton's gonna go. We're filling up the entire canvas. Maybe we're gonna wanna make him chubbier later. Who cares? You can. This is just the initial sketch, so it's nothing set in stone. But I think we've got roughly a skeleton. Okay, so if you're a penciler, you're gonna have to take out your paints now. Everybody else, we are gonna have to wait a touch for our lines to dry. We don't want to mix with whatever color we use, right? I use orange, you might have used yellow, you might have used a different color. We just want them to be dry before we start adding in that rainbow color. But we can get these paints onto our palette here. I'm going to put them in the order that they are on the reference photo. They're down here. So we got some pink. I already have the orange out. Yellow. Then we've got green. Blue. Don't want him to be cut off. So close. Come on, little guy. Right. We've got blue and a purple. I don't even think we need white actually at all, but okay. Now we're gonna take out the biggest brush you got. If you're using that pack of 3, it'll look like this. See, like my paint's dry already, so it shouldn't take too long for it to dry for you. Okay, I'm gonna get my brush wet, but I'm not gonna do that watered down consistency like we did for the outline. We are just going to get our brush wet. You can even tap it on your rag. And we're gonna start by getting into that pink. I'm gonna fill up my brush, go to the very top, and I'm just gonna go left to right. Up to the orange or pencil or whatever line you're using. But see, just roughly, like I don't have to really be too precious about it. But I'm going to bring that pink, filling up that shape. And a little on his toesies. Again, I'm always going left to right, but I'm not being very precious. It doesn't really matter. But now we're going to start making that nice rainbow gradient from the top to the bottom. So I'm wiping off my brush to make sure it's nice and clean of that pink. I don't want the pink on it yet. Again, get your brush wet a little bit. Keep rubbing out that pink. And then go into your orange. And we're going to go right underneath that pink line. Don't touch the pink line yet, but we are going to touch it in a second. So we've got that orange line, and once we've got the thickness you want, I'm going to bring it right up to that pink line that I made, and I'm going to keep going back. Look, my whole body is going left and right naturally. But we are going to just blend that orange line into that pink. See how it's going over a little touch? And again, wipe off, clean that orange. We kind of want the paint to stay a little wet when we do this because we want them to blend together. It's not the end of the world if you paint a little bit slower and when you get to the next color. Oh my gosh, I got paint on my pants that I'm not supposed to be painting in. Story of my life. It's okay if you're a little bit of a slower painter, and by the time you put, like, let's say the yellow down and the orange is already dry, which is probably going to happen to me right now. Not the end of the world. I'll teach you how to work that blend out. But now I'm going to the yellow, and same thing. I'm trying to make the lines about the same width all the way down. That yellow, I kind of brought it a little high. I'm going to bring it over to his little arm here, too. But again, I'm not treating anything too precious. I'm really okay if it goes out of the lines a little bit or if it's not perfect. It's just the background of where our skeleton is going to appear. Same thing. Remember, always wash that brush off. And you might need a couple goes. Like, I'm dipping it back in the water and I can still see yellow coming out of my brush. I clean it off as good as I can. Again, get my brush wet. It's very redundant, but we're going to just keep doing the same thing. Bringing that green, and again, going right up to that yellow. You can start touching it right away if you want, or wait until you've got the green pulled across. And pull through. Again, some of my orange is peeking through, but it's totally okay because black is going to just save the day as the final touch. Because again, like if you look at the reference photo, just some of this color is going to be peeking through in our final skeleton. The shape that we did is like the full black shape. All right, and let's just say that right now, when the yellow is dry, when I put the green, like I was saying before, for example, well, once I'm done putting the green on, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Wash off my brush, go back into the yellow, and have a little bit of water on my brush. Like, see how I went into my yellow, and then I went right to my water? I just did a little dip, so the yellow is a little bit more translucent, and I'm going to go right again on top of that line. It's going to smooth it out a little bit. I don't know if you can see on the camera how yummy that little blend is. Let me see if it goes close. Can you see? The quality isn't the greatest when it zooms in, but you can see it gets a little bit more blended there. Let's see if I overdo it, if you'll see it better on the camera. No. You get the point, though. You can keep going over that line as much as you want. Oh my goodness. Don't mind me. Okay, we've got the green down. I'm washing off my brush. We're going to the blue. I'm realizing that I probably shouldn't have put the pink at the bottom yet. It's okay. We're going to blue. The music's getting intense. I made the blue a little bit thicker because realistically in my reference photo I'm not really following true to it. So I'm painting that blue line. Same thing. Y'all know the drill. Left left to right. I'm not really going up and down, always in the same direction. And then you can go right into your green after you clean that brush again and blend that line together. Wet on wet is what we call it, when one color is wet on the other. I mean, both colors are wet, and you can blend them into each other on the canvas, working wet on wet. And if you feel like you keep putting paint in there and it doesn't feel like it's blending or one color is overtaking the other, then just let it dry, both colors dry, and come back to it. All right, and from that blue, you know the drill. I'm just repeating myself over and over again. I knew this one was going to be a little bit easier. So we've got that blue, and then clean off your brush. Go into your purple, make that beautiful line, left to right. Oop, my brush is a little messy. Some blue is bleeding into my purple. If you're a regular, you know, I don't really care when I make a mess when I paint. Some of you are probably more clean, precise painters, so clean your brush off really good if you want to avoid those. There's a chunk of paint in there. Again, remember, these are the dollar store paints that most of you use. I am honestly surprised at the quality of these for the cost of them. Blue, pink, perfect. So this is why I said, oh, maybe I was a little quick to paint the pink booties, because in my reference photo the bottom was pink, but in this one I didn't paint them thick enough. So I'm going to go back to the pink now. Luckily enough, this isn't live, so I can just make a little memo earlier on the video saying, don't paint the boots pink. So right now you're going to be like, what? Doesn't even matter. If we're doing this live, there'd be people cursing my name. It happens sometimes. Because honestly, usually I don't plan the paintings. I just kind of show up and we figure it out as we go. And sometimes that means y'all doing it live with me. Suffer. But we always have a good time, right? Okay, we've got pink, purple. What comes after pink? Orange. Again, we're just going left to right. Left to right. Blend with a little water. Orange. People who like order, this is probably driving you crazy at the moment. Don't worry, we'll try to fix it. So, if we have orange there, let's see what happens. Pink is not going to come. We're just going to doing it live, folks. Let's go yellow and just... Oh, I slobbed it on there a little too much. But... It actually might cover it okay. It might be okay, other than this slob that I got on there. That'll do. That'll do. We'll do a little bit of yellow there, and then we've got to add some green. Hopefully the green will go right on top of that pink. Again, for a couple dollars a tube, it's pretty good coverage. Can't complain. It's probably going to dry. You can kind of see it a little bit, but... Okay, we've got green right here on the booty. And I'm kind of slobbing it on real there, like lots of paint. Not like at the start where I was saying, like, oh, you want it to be that watered down consistency because you don't want it to pop up. It's just a rough draft. Well, now I'm taking big globs just because I want to cover up my mistakes, which is the pink at the bottom. It'd be fun if you guys can't even hear the music. I hope you can. I looked for a royalty-free Halloween playlist, okay? Oh, I'm just blending that yellow with the green. It's not going well, but We get the point. Perfect. Hey, covered up the pink enough for me. That's enough for me. Okay. We've got some rainbow gradient. Is that the right word? Probably. Okay. Now for this part, again, completely up to you. Whatever you prefer. Pencil, Sharpie. I'm obviously going to teach with a paint. I'm going to teach it with a paintbrush, sorry. But some people are more comfortable with pencils and things like that. I ain't stopping ya. Whatever you prefer. I'm going to take black out. Some of you, it might be a little intimidating to use black, so... Should we use white, maybe? Maybe let's use white, then. I'm just thinking out loud that black's a little permanent and can be stressful for people. So if you're not using a pencil or a watercolor pencil crayon or something like that, take on out some white paint or black if you're feeling bold, whatever works. Ooh, my legs. Okay. So, first, we're going to dip our paintbrush in the water, right? We're going to... Oh, I went right into the black. My brain was ready for the black. Okay, we're going to wipe our brush off real good. Like, we're going to go in the water. We're going to go into our white. And again, you can do that like watered down consistency if you want. I'm going to do it a little bit thicker so you guys can see it. Again, the camera. I was just about to say the camera adds 10 pounds, and that's not... right. Not what I was going to say. The camera sometimes struggles to show stuff like that. So, the first thing we're going to do with this white is we're tracing out, like, where our little skeleton's, like, coming to life here, right? So, we're going to come about, like, I don't know, an inch down. You can even put a line just to start. You can see the white, so that's good. And we are going to just kind of parallel match that circle we've already done. And when I say parallel, right, like we're being like the same distance around and coming on down. Look at all these beans. The skeleton has literally just been little eggs or bean shapes this whole time. Right? And instead of coming all the way together, right, we don't want to match up that line. We're gonna go down and make two lines right on down. Easy peasy. When I look at that, I think of like a septum ring. When I got my septum pierced, that's the bull ring. That's what it looked like. But with those two little lines, guess what? We're just going to make a line right across. Me. And our skeleton has a head. Easier than you thought. Am I right? Easier than I thought. Okay, for these little armies, we are going to just, at the end of it, let's just draw a little circle. But again, you don't need to close all the way. Can you see it? You don't want to close it all the way in. So maybe a C. Maybe I was lying. We're going to do a little C. And again, just another little C. We're going to do two little lovely balls. Christmas balls. Nope, not Christmas. Halloween. We're not going to talk about what it actually looks like. And we're going to draw a line straight on up from the end of those two little C's that we've drawn. All the way up. And gonna do those. It's basically the number 3 backwards at the start, the right way at the other side. That's the number 3, y'all, right? How's that? I'm glad that we found that out. Okay, so let's do it up here. We're just gonna do a number 3 at the tip of his little fingy. Woo. Number 3. And then we're going to pull that line straight down from the tips of those 3s. And do a backwards 3. Oh, this one I made way bigger than the other one. Some people have bigger arms than their other arm. Some people do. I forgot to do his eyeballs up here. You're just going to make big old circles inside of his eyes. Just inside of that little septum ring that we've made. we'll do the nose after, but I think it's cute that they're huge eyeballs. The bigger the eyeball, the cuter the creature. And then just find the middle, wherever the middle is of his little chinny chin chin. Probably, if you can still see your first big circle that we made, like I can still see the outline of it, that's where you're going to start. The rib cage, spine, whatever. This is an anatomy class. And then make that line however thick you want his little inner spine to be. Okay? And we're going to bring it just one on down. And when we get, like, that's like half an inch. I don't know. I'm really bad at eyeballing measurements, but you just pick a little chunk there and a little width distance, and we're going to curve up a little bit, right? It's not straight. If the lines were straight, they'd look like this. They're a little curved up. Oops. You're supposed to be using your watered down white. And cap it off and be parallel with that line. Right? And come up to where this same width of whatever you want it to be of that spine. I know it's not a spine. Rib cage, rib cage, rib cage. And again, but this side's going to be a little bit longer than the other side that you did. And same old thing. Curve it on down. Mock the line. Curve it on down. Mock the line. Until you come up to this line. Think of where your middle line is. The reason I'm not, like, realistically, if you really wanted to, you could draw this line first, but then you're going to have that line right on the inside. And that ain't it. It can be it if you want to, but that's not what I'm going for here, personally. Okay. And we're going to match up in the middle and then come on down again. And this is the longest one. Again, I'm like trying to stay the same distance apart, but it'll get away on you, and that's okay. And bring her on down. Remember that when we're painting black, we're going to be covering right over top this white. So this inside is what you'll be seeing. And again, bring it on in. I feel like the middle is getting thicker for me every time, but my black will fix that. And now they're going to start getting a little bit smaller again. And is there one more? How many ribs I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do one more. And it goes like that. Oh, I kind of made it a little long. So I have a really long body and short legs, and I'm just going to pretend that that's the vibe we are going for. We're making a me. A very long body. I probably could have stopped it here. Maybe I will still. Who knows? And then back to the threes. We've got a 3 at the end of these little ribbies that we did. And from those 3s, bring it on down. Bring it on down. And another backwards 3. Right? Yeah, he is. His body's long. His body's long. I think we can fix it. I think we can fix it. But look at that. Quick time. Let's go. Okay. Now we're going to go to, grab our medium brush. Again, if you're using the same brushes that I got from the dollar store. Oh, I'm not even in the camera. It's this size. That's what it looks like. But again, you can use whatever you got in your repertoire, toolbox, whatever works. I'm just looking at my off portions. It's cute. It's cute. Okay, we're going into the black. I've got that medium brush. My brush is wet, but I'm not doing very watered down. We want the paint to be pretty thick. Now we're coming up here, and we are just gonna go around where that... Oh my goodness, I went in the lines. But again, I'm just outlining basically what I already did, but then filling her in. See, our little guy will be coming to life. So I always suggest to go and do your outline like gently and carefully. Kind of carefully. If you want to be reckless, that's cool too. I'm like regretting this music now. It's too far away for me to turn off. Okay, so... Okay, I'm... Good, I thought I just put my elbow in there. I always suggest to do your outline and see how I'm holding my brush like really close to the edge, and before I was holding it pretty far out. When I want to be precise, I hold the brush, I choke up on the brush a little bit. So we're just going to go around and put our outlines down. And then once we have those like more precise lines down, then you can kind of just go wild and fill in those extra spots. I kind of like some of that white peeking through, to be honest. But see how that nice color that we laid down just pops through in the back. So to be honest, when I originally did this one, I actually painted... I didn't do it like this. I did the outline of the skeleton, and then I painted the, like... I individually painted the ribs and stuff in that style that I just showed you. And I found it a little bit more difficult, so I thought, hey, maybe actually let's do it backwards. I think it'll be a little bit easier, and I'm happy we did. I do think it was a bit easier. I'm going in there. No, I'm going to commit to the long body. I'm committing to the long body. If you didn't want to, you could literally color the black into here, right, and make that the bottom. Like this bottom could be that, and make his legs longer if you want to, but... we are committing to the long body because it feels right. It's funny though, actually, my partner and I, we're not like too different in height, but Dan, like we could sit down at a booth that you have to like step up to get into. We could sit down and I'll be like, wait, it'll look like I'm a lot taller than him, like if we're both just standing straight, but then I'll get out of the booth and my height will not change because my legs are just so like stupid short. And then Dan will be like taller, if that makes sense. That's always the joke, but it's not even a joke because it's actually reality and it's happened more than you'd think. It's difficult to have a long body and short legs. Things don't fit you right. But this alien, this isn't an alien. This skeleton is embracing the life with me. See, I also jump around a lot when I paint, right? Like I didn't stick doing the outlines the whole way. That's on ADHD and how I paint. So again, if you don't like to paint like that, or if it makes you feel better to do it more organized and in order, don't let me stress you out. We're here to have a good time. And everybody's good times are different, okay? I know how I paint stresses people out sometimes. I'm just... giving you a warning. Okay. And see, look, like I'm kind of going out of the lines even more so than I did before, just to kind of fill it out how I want. Just meaning that all the outlines that you started with, nothing is set in stone. Remember that. Oh my goodness, I made a mess. Okay. And what are we doing? Making sure that's good. Dad and I are actually rewatching Breaking Bad again for the like 3rd time. We've probably seen it a million times. But I bet you he's gonna call me soon because he's just watching an episode. He's at home and I'm at work, but so it doesn't take too long. We'll like watch episodes not together, but together, if that makes sense. Because usually when I'm painting, I'm watching TV. But, okay, do you see it coming together? I just went on a tangent. But I'm slowly filling in my skeleton. Right? Ooh, yeah, I made his ribs real thick like. Well, it's still coming along. Right, fill in his head. Okay. If I had time to edit this video, I would be doing this in fast. I'd speed it up. So picture that. And it's just a little messy. The smaller brush might be easier to do those outlines. And earlier when I was saying that you don't have to do the outline first, like realistically you could have brought that color all the way across the whole canvas if you wanted. You didn't have to stick just to the shape of the little guy. Can you tell I'm just like impatient? You. Okay. This is a technique that you can obviously use on many different things. This black silhouette's kind of nice to just block out. They don't have to hand paint that gradient so tiny small. You can be a little bit more free while painting these colors like we were, instead of having to be a little more precise with it. That's a lot harder. Oh, sorry, my hand's just right here. That's why people call me T-Rex. My hands are just always in T-Rex position. Okay. Filling in those last little spots. He looks like a turtle. He's so cute. Okay. I'm gonna bring a smaller brush in there to clean up those lines a little bit better. Again, completely up to you if you want to paint away the outline color that you used to paint that skeleton in, or if you want to cover it, like I just did both in one line, so What can you do? And his eyeballs. Don't worry about his pupil. We can put that in after. One eyeball. Two eyeballs. I'm literally pressing my brush fully onto the canvas and giving it a spin. Put it into the center, push it down until it gets to the edge, and then I'm just giving her a good spin to try to get a good circle. Oh, and I went over the edge. Arm sore from holding it up. Okay, one more time. We'll try again on this side just to make it even. Close enough for now. And his little nose. We'll get a smaller brush for that. Maybe we'll zoom in. Oh, you can see the messy lines. I'll clean them up on here too. When it comes to his little nose, where did he go on my screen? It's literally just an upside down heart, basically. So pick where you want it to go, and I'm gonna do a teardrop down and match it on the other side. Little teardrop. Okay, now with this brush, as we're closer, you can see that I can go in and clean up those lines a little bit more. Perfect. My hand is so shaky. Okay. Right, see how those lines are getting a little bit better? Same on there. I can't breathe when I do those lines. Usually when I do outline, I hold my breath. So we're just gonna leave that. And most of you are probably gonna be doing that for a little bit, right? We're gonna be cleaning up those lines. Don't mind me just zoning out over here. Okay. Don't even have any fun stories to tell you while we paint our little shapes in. And I will even just, for convenience sake, quicken the process. I can show you how to use a Sharpie to just clean up some of these lines. It is true to every single paint night that we do. I always paint the subjects just chubbier than they usually are. I have nothing wrong with that. I think the chubbier the cuter. How is that? Then this little leg. Number 3. And this little arm. Oh my goodness. You just made that one a little wonky. And one more. Okay. You little guy. My apologies for Russian, folks. Not Russian, rushing. Like I said, if I didn't do it now, I'll never do it. So I'm glad I can get this here for you. Okay, he's basically complete, but his cute little eyes are what's missing. And again, you could have not painted his little pupils if you wanted to, but it just makes it a little bit harder. Makes it just a little bit harder. So you can decide like where on the line you're gonna put his pupils. Mine's gonna be in the green spot, orange spot. I don't know why green and orange are something that I always get mixed up. I don't know why. Like I visually know the difference, but I verbally call the other one called green. I mix up green and orange all the time. Okay. We're gonna grab the orange and easy peasy. We're literally just gonna go beep. Again, maybe it's not orange on yours. Oh my gosh. So cute. Why is mine giving me turtle vibes? I feel like it's just because I gave him little short legs. He looks like a little turtle. Just get that a little bit thicker. Alrighty. We've got a Cutie skeleton. I was talking about Sharpies. I'll do the Sharpie after, actually. I'll show you just quickly how I did the drippy background. And we're going to get that medium-sized brush out. Again, this is what I'm using. It can be whatever you've got at home. We're going to dip our brush into the black and the water. We're going to be scooping a bunch of water onto our palettes. And again, more water than paint. And I'm going to go right into his arm and just kind of dab my paintbrush a couple times onto the canvas. I'm touching the black part of his arm first. If there's a lot of water in there, it's going to dry a lot lighter than it looks right now. If you're worried that there's not enough water in it, you can go right into your water and right to your canvas. And it'll put some lighter ones in. How is it that? You can even flip them upside down. And do that again. To get some up drips. Up drips are my signature. I think they're a lot of fun. Yeah. See how already they're drying a lot lighter than it looked like at the start? Because again, there's way more water in there. Again, I'm not being very precious. I'm kind of letting it do its own thing. That's fun. Add a little more just water in there. And drops too, like you can hold your painting flat and you can drip, like drop paint drops onto the canvas. It's gonna be harder for me to, mine are gonna drip because I'm gonna put them back up quick. You're gonna want them to dry on yours, but get some drips in there. Oh, I got some on his cute little face though. Let's just how is that? I'm just right now using a rag with a little bit of water on it just to get some of that black outside of these rainbow spots. Oh, I just added more instead. We'll just let that be. Dab that for a little bit. But how's that little cutie? Oh gosh, I love him. They're so fun to do, these little rainbows. Ah, again, since I always forget, it's not live. There's nobody here that's going to tell me how it went. You in the comments, let me know. If you're on Instagram, anything, send me your photos of your little guys. I would love to see them. I actually am lying to you. I can't say yet because I told you I do Sharpie. It's pretty straightforward with a Sharpie. I don't want to get my arm in anything. You can use a Sharpie to kind of clean up those edges. It's a little bit too wet because I did those drips, but same thing. You can shape out some of these outlines with a Sharpie instead. It'll be a little bit easier for some people than a paintbrush. I always joke that it's, some people, artists would say it's a sin to use a Sharpie on a painting, but if you're just having fun at home and trying to make something cute, who cares? Okay? You do you, boo. All right, so I'm going to, I gotta take my thumbnail, even if nobody's here, I guess. I gotta do my thumbnail still, hey? I don't know what it's gonna be. It's just a little, do I just act dead? I have before. I've done a rainbow skeleton before. Anyway, so we're gonna put him over here. And I'm gonna be dead again, or just waving too. Like this. I don't know, one of the two. How do I usually hold them? This way? Done. Well, if anybody stuck through to the end, thank you. I do it for you guys, so I hope you have fun. I'm blurry in a weird spot, but thank you, everybody. Catch me on Instagram, Etsy, YouTube, TikTok, Taytayski across the board. I usually do these the last Thursday of every month. I had to last minute cancel the last one. That's why we're doing this not live, but usually live on caffeine.tv/Taytayski. So, hopefully see you again sometime soon. Catch you on the flip side.